Nothing Personal starts in 30 seconds. It's just business. This is Nothing Personal.
Here you go.
Thank you. That's the Nothing Personal word of the day. Good morning. It's Monday, September 16th, 2024, and thank you. I'm feeling a lot of thankfulness in my heart. I am sitting here today on a random Monday. On my left is Woody Johnson. Hello, Woody. He's not really here for those of you not watching. On my right is the Mara family. No, Joaquin Phoenix nor the Mara family is on my right. But they and I, as the team president of a team who had an owner that many of you, not many of you, let's not overblow it. We have a ring, for crying out loud. Some of you believe may have been a bad owner, though. Now, of course, with Bruce Sherman, people are saying, hey, you want to come back? But I'm sitting here with my brethren, and we are extending a heartfelt, full of warmth thank you to David Tepper. David Tepper is the owner of the Carolina Panthers. The Carolina Panthers stink. Not just today, but yesterday, and the day before, and the day before that, and the week before that, and the month before that, and the year before that, and then the year before that, going all the way back to the start. David Tepper bought that team in July of 2018. So his first season was 18. He's had 6 seasons, plus a little stub of the 7th, 2 games. Yesterday, the Panthers got embarrassed. Absolutely embarrassed for the second week in a row. And Aaron Rodgers won his first game for the Jets. Now, not many people are covering this angle, but Aaron Rodgers having a phenomenal game for a 40-year-old. The Jets win 24-17. All is well in the world. And the Jets were able to win their 32nd game since 2018. That's right. The Panthers and Jets were tied for the worst record in the entire NFL since 2018. And now the Panthers have it all by yourself. I want to be all by myself. I wonder if Bryce Young was singing that. If that's how he feels after that game. Bryce Young, the number 1 pick in the draft. The number 1 pick in the draft. He had a historically bad day yesterday. He was so bad. You can watch all the highlight shows you want. I don't think you're going to get it. I'm going to give it to you, though. He passed for 84 yards. I did an informal poll. I went around to different high schools and colleges and different people I work with and for and from and to. Could you throw 84 yards in an NFL game if you were the number 1 draft pick in the entire world? 84 yards. Over 25 pass attempts. That's pretty good, isn't it? He averaged under 4 yards. Now, I agree the NFL is doing this check down crap now. Now, not Sam Darnold, of course. Sorry, Jets fans. Yeah, but you won. You're not unhappy about that. But going 97 to JJ. However, generally, it's all a little less exciting than you'd like. The best we can get with highlights are people getting both toes down. Congratulations, Marvin Harrison Jr. Good job. The Giants receiver, almost a good job. Just one dropped catch away from a decent job. It's a different NFL. The whole rules were done to make it more offense oriented. And now it just seems like quarterbacks are afraid. They're afraid to go deep. They're afraid to let receivers run routes. Maybe receivers are afraid to run routes. It used to be that the check was that was your fullback who would just go for a quick 3 spot, just in case of emergency, get it off to the left or the right. Now it seems to be what happens every day, every play. Bryce Young is that now. That's really all he is. So what do you do if you're the worst owner? Now, you can't say that our owner he got a ring. You can't say Jerry Reinsdorf is of the White Sox, he got a ring. Even Jerry Jones has a ring. And I believe, as you know, that rings are the ultimate conversation ender. And I understand Coca's point. He makes it to me so often during pre-shows. I get it. What have you done for me lately? You won the ring 25 years ago. Get over it. If you're Jerry Jones, you won 1 ring, 6 with the Bulls, but you had Jordan. Get over it. 1 with the White Sox, but it was 05. 1 with the Marlins. It was 03. It's now 2024. I get it. I'm just not willing to agree with it. The San Francisco Giants, stop complaining. You got 3. You were a dynasty in the 2010s. The Red Sox have 4. Stop complaining. Yes, they're out of it. We're going to talk about the Red Sox later in the show today. They're completely out of the race, no matter what anybody is saying. But they've had rings. David Tepper, rings. Rings the way Jim Mora would talk. Google it if you don't know the reference, but approximately 70% of you will know that reference. Playoffs. Whenever you inflect your voice or you hear that on a show, if it's practice, that's AI. But if it's playoffs, that's Jim Mora. That's how you know the difference. Do you know that the Panthers, David Tepper goes through coaches the way I go through water bottles? God, I'm so happy I came up with that Coca. My mind went somewhere else very quickly. But for whatever reason, my water bottle still labelless, sponsorless. Water, hello, anybody? Anybody alive out there? Love you, Bruce. Anybody? Luckily, my brain went to water bottles. David Tepper goes through coaches faster than I go through water bottles. We got a new guy. Did you know it? Can you name the coach of the Carolina Panthers? Anyone? Could you name the offensive coordinator for the Buccaneers? Bobby Cannavale is Dave Canales is the first-year head coach, and he had maybe the quote of the weekend. Bryce is our quarterback. Thank you. That is huge. I mean, that just clarifies everything. That ends all speculation. We needn't discuss his ineffectiveness because you are supporting your crap quarterback because you drafted him first overall as an organization. So you're not giving up like that. This coach was hired for the sole purpose of making Bryce Young better. So he says in a post-game quote, Bryce is our quarterback, but here we go. We're going to continue to shore and fix the things we need to fundamentally from a scheme standpoint. All those things. All right, Coach Speak Man. Let's dig down just for 1 minute on that, if you don't mind. I'm glad you can continue to shore and fix. That's like how people in New York talk about the Triborough Bridge. Let's shore it. Do we fix it? Nah, we'll just shore it up to make sure it doesn't all fall into the river from too many trucks, cars, weight, because we don't want to be Baltimore. Let's start with the shore. If that doesn't work, we go to the fix. Generally, you only do the fix once the shore doesn't work. It's like temporary versus permanent. But let's pretend we're going to shore, then we're going to fix. Now, we're going to do all the fundamentals. Like, here's how you hold your hands right when your hands are below the center's tuchus. Then we're going to do a 3-step drop back. So you're going to take 1 step, 2 steps, 3 steps, look right, look left, past center. You're going to check down to this guy will be there on your left. Don't you worry your little heart out, Bryce. We'll get you above 3.8 yards per passing attempt. We've got this. We're going to put in some plays. Are those fundamental fixes or are those scheme fixes? I think there's a difference. Fundamentals are the fundamentals of a sport. Schemes are what you do once you know the fundamentals of a sport. It's not a scheme to learn how to do a chess pass. That's a fundamental skill. How to catch a fly ball. We're going to really work on that. I love it when MLB teams commit a lot of errors. Hey, we're going to work on the fundamentals. You mean like the fundamentals of catching and throwing and getting fly balls or getting ground balls? I'm in. Now, what about the schemes? The schemes are the wheel play. The schemes are who's covering what you're doing on certain counts, where the defense is moving, looking at your piece of paper that you have in your hat or your jersey or your pocket. Those are some good schemes. Here's the best scheme that we can come up with for Carolina to do. If Bryce Young is this bad all season, doesn't David Tepper say, wow, this guy who I hired, Dave Canales, to coach stinks. I've gotten rid of every other coach. Why wouldn't I get rid of him? But Tepper's getting more experienced. He's got to realize, doesn't he, now that he's the worst owner in all of sports, that maybe every time he thinks of going left, he should go right. I think he better try that. I'm picturing today Dave Canales on the phone with Mike McCarthy. How we doing, Mike? Good. You? Man, you guys got your ass whooped yesterday. Yes, we did. Those Saints, man, you give them the ball, they score. We can't. There's nothing we can do. And we're dropping passes. We're throwing interceptions. We look terrible. Well, Dave, you guys didn't look much better. Yeah, but Mike, aren't you worried about your job? Dave, aren't you worried about yours? I'm in my first year. It's happening to the Cowboys right now. Everything we talked about preseason. Give Dak Prescott the money. I guess you had to. Give Lamb the money. Go for it. Do it. Make everyone happy. Watch your team lose. And I mean lose in an embarrassing fashion. They didn't just lose yesterday. They got blown out 44-19 in their home opener. So Jerry Jones gave 2 interviews, one as GM and one as owner. And it's awesome to hear the difference because you know from this show he plays 2 parts. As the owner, extremely disappointing, extraordinarily disappointed for our fans. We will correct this. We will improve from how we played out there today. Phew, thank you for that great input. Because if you don't improve from how you played today, you're going to go 0-17, and I'm pretty sure the books didn't get it that wrong. So let's work under the assumption that things will get better, and this is me extending an olive branch to you, Coca, for your 0-2 Ravens. There is a full Howard Jones in effect right now. Guaranteed. Hold on. I'm checking the math. Let me just check the math. Ooh, that's under 50%. Interesting. 48.9% of you got that one. Coca, you're not one of them. So Jerry Jones, the GM, says, hey, we're disappointed. But now let's see what happened in week 2 from the GM standpoint. Because you remember how their season's gone. They're 1-1. They beat Deshaun, and now they've lost to Derek. He said, the GM, we got so much ahead of us. We got seasons almost ahead of us before we get to the playoffs. Playoffs? We've got a lot of work to do. We got a lot of good players that can do the work. I'm confident we'll get it done. We'll learn from this. Have you ever had a coach, a GM, or an owner after a crappy loss where you get embarrassed not say, oh, we expect to learn from it? Well, I've been in a clubhouse, 18 years in a clubhouse. I've been through a lot of bad losses. Losses that we were supposed to lose, which still is not ideal, but losses where you're supposed to win, and that stinks. But when we sit around and we talk before a game and go through all the scenarios, like when to intentionally walk somebody with no one on, or we talk about when we're going to do pitching changes or who's pinch hitting or who's available. And then after the game, we talk about how things went with the decisions we had made before the game, what we noticed about the other team, and we do our normal post-game download. The number of times where we would say, man, we learned from that. Zero. Zero. Learn what? Yeah, don't drop passes. Learn what? Run the right routes. Learn what? When it's man on third, under 2 outs, try to get the ball in the air. Run it out. Yeah, man, we learned. Boy, we learned that if we just wouldn't face good pitching, we'd hit more. We learned that when we don't pitch well, we're going to lose. We learned there still won't be fans in the stands. We learned every loss. Thank God. But Dak Prescott was fine. He's good. He just said we're going to reset. So the Cowboys are resetting. I guess they reset after the game week 1 victory. They reset by accident. Maybe do you not learn when you win? Maybe that's the problem. I've just come up with a new way. I'm ready to get back into the game now. Sorry, nothing personal, listeners. This is my last episode. I'm getting back into sports because I just figured it out. After a win, I'm going to take the microphone, meet the media, and say, I learned a lot from this. So ridiculous. All right, Giants fans, you knew I was going to get to you. You knew it, and here we are. Congratulations. I just want to say that it's not easy to do what you've done. As a matter of fact, it's never been done ever, and that's cool. It wasn't a scoregami, but it was NFL history. You guys scored 3 touchdowns. Congrats. Amazing. Now, you have the minimum number of points for scoring 3 touchdowns, but you did get 18 points, which is great. Of course, you were playing the Commanders, and for whatever reason, the Commanders matched your 3 touchdowns with 7 field goals. 3 touchdowns, no conversions is 18. 7 field goals is 21. Oh, my God, the Giants lost. That was our pick of the day yesterday. 21-18, first time ever to score 3 TDs, give up 0, and lose the game in regulation. It's so good. It's so good. Any thoughts on why the Giants didn't have a backup kicker? So, mea culpa. I was not aware that the kicker was hurt going into the game. It slipped my mind. I didn't read it, or if I read it, I didn't comprehend it. If I comprehended it, I didn't comprehend it correctly. Whatever the case may be. I thought the kicker got hurt on the kickoff. And then they tried the punter for an extra point, didn't work. Then they went for 2 the other 2 times. That didn't work. That's how you get 18 with 3 failed conversions. And I said, Coke, explain to me, just if you wouldn't mind, what happened here? Where was the backup kicker? We're going to learn from this. I'll tell you what I'm going to learn. If you've got a hurt kicker in a game where kicking matters more than it ever did because people are hitting 51-yarders, Bucker, way more often than they ever did, and you're in field goal range practically at the logo, don't you think having a healthy kicker and not using the old backup goalie situation? It's like the backup goalie in hockey, the backup to the backup goalie. That's really what the punter should be, is backup to the backup kicker. We cannot waste a roster spot. I got an idea for a rule change, Mr. Goodell. If you want to stop seeing the crap we saw with the Giants, how about this? You can have a kicker at the game the way hockey teams can have a backup to the backup goalie at the game, sitting in the stands, drinking some beers, getting ready. All of a sudden, goalies are hurt, and guess what? That goalie can be the goaltender for any team. Come on down. You're the next contestant on. Put on your pads. I think we should have a designated kicker, a neutral guy, just a guy who can do it, like Rob Gronkowski, I would say. Just have him at every game. Bring in a little FanDuel. You got yourself a little DraftKings. Do something. Get it sponsored. Be easy to do a sponsor. I think DraftKings would love that. Giants lose because they're clueless. They had no one to kick. So the Giants had to go for it on 4th down. Coca got angry with me this morning. But David, the guy dropped the pass. But Coca, the pass shouldn't have been thrown. If you have a kicker, you kick a field goal and you tie the game. That'll do it. Good morning to Dolphin fans. It may seem like 100 years ago, but it was only 3 days ago. It was 4/8/69. Good morning, Dolphin fans. It may seem like 168 years ago, but it was 4 days ago that your quarterback got concussed. All weekend long, everybody on X, everybody everywhere. Tua's retiring. Tua's not retiring. Tua's a neurologist. Tua is talking to his family. If he retires, he can only get $93 million. If he can play, he's got to get the other 124. But if he's not medically cleared, he'll still get it. But if he is medically cleared but retires, he won't get it. They're going to negotiate. Everybody's talking like they've got a clue. I'll tell you what's going on. I think I have it. Upon information and belief based on my huge, vast network of sources from which you come to me for breaking news, because that's my lane. I'm a newsbreaker. Of course, Tua hasn't made a decision on whether he's going to retire. Number one, the majority of people need to have the uniform ripped off their back. They need to be told they're done. Not even by a doctor, by a front office to say, listen, you stink. You're not going to make the team. We love you. We're sorry. Good luck. Goodbye. Farewell. Amen. Tua doesn't know. He's going to see some neurologists. Of course he wants to play. It's what he knows. It's who he is. How many of you, just by a show of hands out there, listen to earpods, AirPods, or headphones? I'd say 99.69% of you. I bet it's too loud. I bet your mommy once told you, don't listen to music too loud. You're going to go deaf. Wear sunscreen. You're going to get skin cancer. You're going to get sunspots. Moisturize. Floss. You'll lose your teeth. Nah, it's not going to happen to me. Nothing like that happens to me. I'm going to grow up and not one thing is going to happen that I was told is going to happen until I had the epiphany that everything happens that I was told was going to happen. Why? Because we're all extraordinarily ordinary. Age wins. If you're lucky enough to have those issues because you don't die young, a horrible death of an accident or cancer, disease, whatever, if you're lucky enough to grow old, everything that you were told not to do, you shouldn't have done because it impacts you at a certain point, which is why I say do it. Just do it with knowledge. You don't get the right to say, man, I cannot believe I have skin cancer. And I'm not saying that people should get it. I'm not wishing it upon anybody. But I'll tell you one thing. I had skin cancer removed from my chest, and I didn't complain to anyone other than, wow, that's a big hole in my chest. And look at that. It turns out I do have an inner core of organs and blood and cartilage. I didn't say, man, no one told me this. If I had only known then what I know now. I did know then. You make a choice. You live with the consequences. We talk about this on Nothing Personal. Tua's going to have a choice to make. The doctors aren't going to rule that he has to retire. Tua knows when he goes in that there's a chance. There is a chance that he will get another concussion, and there's a chance it won't matter, and there's a chance he will be debilitated when he's 50, 60, God forbid, have an early life. How many players? I spent 16 seasons watching games with Andre Dawson, watching him not able to walk because of his knees and playing on turf. And he said, David, of course I knew. Of course I knew. But man, did I love it. Think about what a brain injury is for a second. It's been studied. We know that when you have a brain injury, you can't properly process how it's going to affect you and whether or not you're going to be Jim McMahon or Junior Seau. But you have to leave it up to the player. No matter how many NFL head coaches, no matter how many prognosticators or sideline reporters or people in studio microphones or people with microphones on podcasts, no matter how many people call for him to retire, call for his safety, yell at the NFL for not protecting Tua, try to get inside the head of Mike McDaniel and the kiss on the kepi, whatever. None of you are the athlete. Even if you've been the athlete, even if you are an athlete, you're not in Tua's head, literally. Tua's going to come back as soon as he can come back. Because to Tua, like to all of us, the aura of invincibility is, boy, it's intoxicating. You just think to yourself, you are going to be the exception, not the rule. Some people are right. Most people are wrong, because that's why it's an exception to the rule. What would I do if I were Tua? I'm not answering that. I'm not Tua. I'm not going to get online with all the other talking heads who are telling you exactly what Tua should be doing. I'll tell you, he'll play again, though. Let's talk about those Yankees, if you don't mind. I'm not a superstitious guy, actually. I'm a very rigid person. I have an order I do things. I'm clean. I'm neat. There's no question. But it's not like when we won a game. It's fun. All right, let me start again. 369. Just take that whole part out, Coca. I am such a superstitious guy when it comes to certain things, and I'm not superstitious at all for a majority of life. So notwithstanding my proclivities and quirkiness and OCD tendencies, the only manifestation of superstition comes when I was running a baseball team and a no-hitter was happening. I wouldn't move. I wouldn't say, man, this game is going quickly, because it would cause the game to slow down. Hey, look, no traffic on the LIE. Uh-oh. I guess those are superstitions, but I didn't have, like, if we won a game, I'd eat the same meal, wear the same underwear, drive the same way to the stadium. I didn't have any of that stuff. There is one thing, however, that I was very, very, very careful about when watching baseball. You don't do anything, and I love to talk about, and we do talk about self-inflicted problems on a team. Mental errors are self-inflicted, not physical. Bulletin board material for another team is self-inflicted, not part of the game at all. Off-field incidences that cause you to miss time. Personality conflicts that create distractions. All of these different things can happen. But you don't really want to create one. In the New York Yankees, OMG. Now, Yankee fans are going to say, David, why don't you zip your yapper? The Yankees won the series against the Red Sox. The Yankees are pulling away from the Orioles. The Yankees are getting ready to potentially have the best record in the American League. The Yankees are catching Philly for the best record in all of baseball and to be the home field for the World Series. The Yankees have a great situation with Nasty Nestor now starting and doing well, and he can be in the bullpen. Rodon and his 4+ bloated ERA. You never know. He can go 7 strong in a playoff game. And let's not sleep on our ace, because he's back and he's brilliant. Their ace is a guy named Gerrit Cole. Gerrit Cole walked Rafael Devers this weekend with the bases empty, intentionally, apparently without telling anybody. He put 4 fingers up, which is the sign. There's no more ball 1, ball 2, ball 3, ball 4, where a coach, and this came up in the conversation that we had when we started that rule. I was on the committee when the rule started. I love this. People were upset and wanted to vote against it for 2 reasons. Number one, there are pitchers who, when you ask them to intentionally walk somebody, they can miss, and it could be a wild pitch, or they can miss and it could be a strike and the hitter could hit the ball. We decided those are so few and far between, forget it. Let's save the time in the game, put a guy on. The other part that was mentioned and dismissed at the time of the rule was, what about a change of mind? And I was summarily dismissive of that, where I said, if you can't decide whether to intentionally walk a guy, you don't get 2 pitches to then change your mind. When it's 3-0, you can then throw ball 4, put him on. When it's 2-0, you can throw ball 4, put him on. When it's 1-0, you can throw ball 4 and put him on. When it's 0-0, you can put 4 fingers up and put him on. You can do it anytime, no problem. But there is no changing your mind. Once you put a guy on, once you put the four fingers on, once you've decided to intentionally walk someone, that's it. We're not wasting time. Get yourself to first base. So Gerrit Cole is pitching to Austin Wells. Austin Wells is like, what's happening here? He was not in on the plan to intentionally walk Devers in the situation where nobody was on and a man and one man out. The Red Sox then went on to score 3 runs, and the Red Sox won the game. And it was CYA like I've never seen after the game. I've never seen it. Because the only person I've ever approved to be intentionally walked without anyone on has to be Barry Bonds. That's it. In full steroid mode. We're talking when he was hitting a home run every 2 at-bats. Number 2, Rafael Devers is not close to Bonds. I don't care if a guy is hitting 700 against my pitcher. If you're not Barry Bonds, you're not being put on base. Period. Number 2. I don't know if we're up to number 2 or number 3. I lost track because we're live on the Nothing Personal with David Samson YouTube channel. But here we go. Why exactly would a pitcher have the authority to do that? Why would your ace pitcher ever do that? We were taught by Jack McKeon and managers before him, we're not intentionally walking anybody. What are we, scared? You're the best pitcher on this team. Go get him. The odds are with you. The math is with you. I don't need data analytics department to tell me that Devers, no matter how well he's doing, at best has a 40% chance of getting to first base. Hold on, let me wait. 60% doesn't get to first base. 40% does. That seems like good odds. And that's against every Tom, Dick, and Harry who's pitching in the big leagues right now. This is our ace. Hard stop. Aaron Boone. He acknowledged the team discussed intentionally walking Devers in non-traditional spots. He acknowledged they had that discussion. But then he said, we were winning the game, so my preference would have been let's attack him. But obviously, I didn't communicate that well enough. I think Gerrit was a little indecisive out there and rolled with it. What? I'm in disbelief. Absolute disbelief. It's the job of the manager to communicate with the general manager, who may be there with the president or the assistant GM or the owner, whoever it is. They go through different scenarios, including whether or not walking Rafael Devers intentionally with no one on is something that they're going to do. It's decided before the game. When you see Gerrit Cole put 4 fingers up and that's not your strategy, you are running on the field. I don't care if it embarrasses your star pitcher. Oh, David, that's why you're a terrible president. You got to give them latitude. If Gerrit Cole doesn't think he can get Devers out, put him on. Nope, not your job. Your job is to throw the ball. Your job is to take the mound. Your job is to get hitters out. No pitcher I have ever met has come up solely with his own game plan. I think they just sit at home and they're going through and saying, all right, here's what we're going to do. Here's how we're going to do it. Don't be ridiculous. Now, Devers has hit .350 against Cole and 8 home runs. So 15 strikeouts in 16 games. Devers himself said, I didn't expect that from a future Hall of Famer. I feel like he panicked a little bit. How about one of the Red Sox players, Brian Bello? I felt like it showed a lot of weakness, he said. Damn right. That is a bad sign for the Yankees. You got to get your communication better. Speaking of communication, we're going to take a break right now. When we come back, we're going to review the Emmys that were on last night. Then we're going to talk about a deal that MLB made that is a spectacular deal that is getting some weird attention. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Nothing Personal. It is David Samson coming at you live Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. Eastern. I will not be in the Eastern time zone toward the end of this week. We will get to that tell you where I am, what I'm doing, different time zone. It's okay. I don't mind getting up early. I do watch a movie. I did watch some great content. We're going to get to review much of it this week. But last night, I want to review the Emmys. The Emmys, I did not have a chance to watch live, but I did have a chance to watch not live. I watched the last hour and change live, but not the beginning. They were hosted by Dan and Eugene Levy. Yes, the father and son from Schitt's Creek. Yes, the father and son in real life. They hosted the Emmys. There's a bit of misunderstanding about the Emmys. People are like, we just had the Emmys. True, except the Emmys in January were late because of the strikes. Remember when the unions were on strike, SAG-AFTRA, and the directors, everybody was on strike, and then everyone settled. Everyone figured out, yeah, AI, we'll worry about it later. Here's that can, kick it, kicked. All right, we're back, baby. Whew. So the Emmys are this time of year. I got a few takeaways from the Emmys that I'd like to give you all. Number one, watch Baby Reindeer. I reviewed it back in April. I told you to watch it. It won a ton of Emmys, and it is the best show I've watched this year. Although it's only September, and I'll do a top 10 list, of course, for the new year for some mailbags, top 10 shows of the year, top 10 movies of the year, etc. But Baby Reindeer, it's going to be there. Watch it. 2, the bear for this go-around, these Emmys that it won, and it won 11 Emmys. Jeremy Allen White won again. So did the cousin, and so did the worker. I think she may be the first Latino to win Best Supporting Actress. She's so good. But it was for season 2, not season 3. All of the Bear Emmy wins were for the previous season. That's why Jamie Lee Curtis won for the Fishes episode. Number 3, I guess I got to watch Shogun. I've totally not watched it. It's not that I wasn't interested. It didn't grab me. Though, of course, I didn't even start it. But now it's won a record 18 Emmys, a record. And it's best drama. I thought it was a limited series. It's sort of a limited series, except now it becomes the first foreign language, 70% in Japanese, to win best drama. And it became a drama in a drama because it was so drama-filled that they were able to be in that category when they said, you know what? We may consider doing another season. And I was like, wait a minute, like the extra seasons of Game of Thrones after the book's done? How does that go? Either way, Shogun became a drama. I'm going to have to watch it. Next takeaway, Hacks beat the Bear for best comedy. I've watched 0 episodes of Hacks. Gene Smart keeps winning Emmys. I guess I'm going to have to watch it. Next, the reunions. Reunions make me happy. Seeing them bring out cops and lawyers from different shows, good. But bringing out Arthur Fonzarelli, Henry Winkler, and Ron Howard, having the reunion of the Schitt's Creek cast, having the West Wing reunion. Did anyone else, if you haven't watched West Wing, don't not watch it because you're conservative. It is definitely a liberal slanted show. But conservatives can enjoy it nonetheless. Why? Because it's informative. It's educational. It will help you. It's insanity that some of the issues brought up back in 99 to 06 are the issues that we deal with and face today that seem so out of it. How is it possible we're going to be dealing with that? We never will be dealing with that. Wait a minute. We're dealing with it. Very strange. Very, very strange. The only thing I have wrong with reunions, Coca, it's the same thing I have with looking at old photos. I don't like to see how much I or others have aged. It's just a thing I have. You know this about me. The loyal audience knows. Peter Pan. He's my guy. What's with all the complaining about the batting helmet signage? Just out of curiosity, do you ever go around to companies and they put an ad out and you're like, man, that's too much. I don't want to see one more Zach Braff T-Mobile commercial. It's too much. Archie, man, if I see Geico do one more thing, if I see their name one more place, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm not going to use Geico. Their competitors would hope that maybe you get freaked out by Geico and too many commercials. I think most people just don't do that. How about when you're going to an arena, going to a concert, going to a game, you see ads around, seems normal. Watch an F1 race, that are walking billboards, NASCAR the same. We watch tennis players win the US Open. They got little things on their shoulders. What are they there for? Oh, yeah, they're paid. Brand loyalty, brand awareness, brand affinity. What's the big deal? MLB cut a deal this weekend. A huge deal cut by the Deputy Commissioner of Business and Media, Noah Garden, who I've known for decades, who is now responsible to raise revenue on a national basis to distribute to the 30 teams. That's his job. A couple of years ago, I told you there were going to be ads on helmets. And I said, I think I had the wait to see, Coca. I'm not sure when I had it, but I'm pretty sure I had the wait to see. And the wait to see is that there will be ads on helmets in 2024. And I was off by a year. Ads on helmets in Major League Baseball will begin in 2025. They'll actually begin in this year's playoffs. Wait a minute. I may get to revisit that wait to see unless it was for 23. Am I 2 years old, Coca? That would be funny. They cut a deal with a company called Strauss. Do you know what Strauss is? I am perfectly happy to admit I'd never heard of it. I don't get bothered by that. I didn't know what they did, who they were. What are they doing? Why are they doing it? What is the purpose of them spending like $30 million a year, $1 million per team for hat signage? I definitely had a wait to see on helmets. Coca's telling me in my ear I only had a wait to see on pitch clock ads, which I did. And I thought Noah Garden would sell a pitch clock ad nationally. But there's a wait to see out there about helmets. I promise you. We are a small team, so we don't have a huge staff of people looking at these things that I call out during the show. And for that, I apologize. So Strauss came to baseball. Of course, that was Noah's quote. I would have said it the other way. I realized that Strauss wants to get a big imprint in the U.S. And I said, hey, why don't you do it with batting helmets? But he said that Strauss came to us looking for visibility. Well, that's good when business comes walking in the door. They're breaking into the market. Still don't know what they do. And just in case you were wondering why Major League Baseball took over the minor league teams, in case that was in your head, because guess what Major League Baseball can offer to its advertisers? Not only will you be on the helmets for all 30 Major League teams, you're going to be on the helmets for all 120 affiliated minor league teams. Hell yeah. And if you don't mind, we're going to take that revenue and we're going to split it. Because if you are the owner of a minor league team who's not the owner of the major league team and you just own a minor league team for business, or you're one of those funds that buys a bunch of minor league teams, there's a few things that you don't control. Like who plays for your team? Sounds crazy. What those teams wear? Sounds a little crazy. You could help design uniforms if you wanted. Who coaches your players? Any advertisements on the player? Now, you can sell an outfield wall sign. Go ahead. Good luck. A lot of TV exposure for those minor league teams. You think that baseball is not purposefully cutting deals to get revenue for big league teams that are generated by minor league teams? You think Rob Manfred was born yesterday, fell off the turnip truck? You think that the whole plan to get everything under one umbrella at Major League Baseball was only about control? Control of money. Can you imagine what a brilliant deal this is for Noah Garden and for the other owners? Truly remarkable. So here's what I think. I think that you should lay off. I don't like that baseball gets critiqued for every little thing it does. Are you shocked by the fact that people who own a business and run a business are trying to find ways to get more money from different groups of people to engage in their product? Like, is this, oh my God, who would ever do that? What kind of selfish bastard would try to get more money from more people? How dare you? Congratulations to all of MLB and to Strauss. You've got one guy, me, one guy who's going to find out what you do. That's one guy who now knows, who didn't know, who would never have known. And now he will, because you're a batting helmet sponsor. It's pretty good. Nothing personal pick of the day. Jacob deGrom lost his first game of the year. Thank you, Jacob. Great job. Great job. Mariners came back. deGrom pitched. Mariners came back. We had the Rangers winning. Mariners won. We lost. Coca, where are we with Corbin? Patrick Corbin is shoving. Are you telling me that Patrick Corbin is finally pitching well on the last year of his deal, so some idiot team is going to sign him to a guaranteed deal? Like, does he think he's going to get a Seth Lugo deal? Hey, man, I'll play 3 more years for $15 a year, coming off my 20 plus. If you sign Patrick Corbin to a long-term deal next year, you deserve to lose 120 games. Maybe the White Sox will sign him. I can't tell if Corbin is really doing this for us. We're 12-8 in our Corbin picks, and we're down units. The Marlins were favored over the Nats because it was Corbin Day, and Corbin shoved it. So I went into Sunday down 0-2 and less than happy. But luckily, we had the Commanders minus 1.5 over the Giants. Sorry, Giants fans. Those Josh Harris-led Commanders, that's a good team. Any team that can kick 7 field goals and win a game, I mean, you're talking about a contender. You could have been. So we are 123 and 127. We got 2 ones for you. One, we got the Eagles playing the Falcons. Anytime you go Battle of the Birds, you obviously have to go with the American signal bird. That's the eagle, not the falcon. Now, I did love Falcon and the Snowman, and I'm not a huge Eagles guy because I'm a Giants guy growing up. But the Eagles are giving 5.5 to the Falcons. We're taking the Eagles. Tonight is the last night of a big series in baseball if you're a Mets fan or if you're any fan at all. Yamamoto's pitching for the Dodgers. It's his second start back after missing months of the season. He was fantastic in his first start. The thing about starting pitchers when they come back to the big leagues after missing time, there's so much adrenaline. Start 1, you're pumping it out, you're feeling good, you're pretending everything's fine. Start 2, it can get a little dicier. We've got Fried, the free agent to be for the Braves, only minus 105 over Yamamoto. Anytime Fried is below, 5% vig like that, we're taking him. So we are taking Braves over the Dodgers. The Dodgers need Yamamoto to win this year. When the Dodgers get into the playoffs, their rotation is Jack Flaherty, Yamamoto, David Samson, Matt Coca, and Sarah McCrory. That's it. That's your starting 5 for your Dodgers. Are you excited? David, what about Tyler Glasnow? Hurt. Dustin May? What about Ferris Bueller? He's pitching well. We're going to give him a start for sure. You're going to have to because you don't want to pay me and Coca. Tyler Glasnow is out for the season. I don't know if you remember Tyler Glasnow. He's an ace when he pitches. Like a lot of guys who get hurt and then don't have careers. They're aces when they pitch. But you know what Tyler Glasnow is to the Dodgers right now? Do you know what he is? He's a number 69 starter. That's what he is. He's done. He gets hurt all the time. He cleared out his locker, left Atlanta where the team was. He's done. Not even with the team. And he's the guy who they traded for and then immediately extended him. But David, it worked with Chris Sale, the Cy Young Award winner for the Braves. They brought him over, and he's been the best pitcher in baseball. Yes, it can work. But signing a player to an extension before you've lived with them, thinking that you're going to be able to do something and get out of a player what no one else gets, that's the exception. The rule is don't sign those deals. It's going to miss. The Dodgers are a huge business, a multi-billion-dollar company. They make mistakes time and time again, like the rest of the league, because all of these teams act the same way. Oh, we'll get him. He'll be different. Guess what? Tyler Glasnow won't be pitching in October for the Dodgers. Sorry, Andrew. It's just business. This is nothing personal.